Hey there! Welcome to Force of Sound. Today we're changing our F350's brakes that are shot so we can actually stop the truck and trailer quickly when we need to. As a dad and a husband, I've got a few serious safety perspectives to share on the topic as well. Let's get after it. Often as dads or other types of caretakers, we work hard at being able to protect the people we love. Sometimes we can get hyper-focused on things like guns and knives and defensive fighting skills or stocking food and gadgets for the next big global event because of fears and what we see going on around us. Sometimes this is warranted, but sometimes we might focus on a thing simply because we want a really good excuse to do something really cool that costs a lot. As we strive to care for everyone around us, let's make sure we're taking a measured approach and not neglecting the weightier and possibly more probable things that will help keep everyone out of danger's way. For example, if you work as a cop or a security guard or just live in a particularly bad part of town, practicing martial arts every day might be a great use of time. If you're like us and you tow tens of thousands of pounds down the highway with your family in the front and your home in the back, making time to do routine inspections and fix the things that need fixing before they become problems might be the best thing that you could do with your limited time to care for your family and everyone else around you. Oh, and on a side note,
always stay out from under the truck once it's in the air.
I am not a certified Ford tech, just someone that's been doing my own car maintenance since my dad could put a wrench in my hand as a kid. So this episode isn't advice about how you should maintain your vehicles, but I do suggest getting familiar with your equipment and doing the best you can to do all routine and maintenance, even when it isn't convenient.
Now with the wheels off, nothing goes under the truck.
Staying up on things like maintenance could help you or someone else in a pinch, and knowing a few basic safety principles could even save someone's life. No joke.
Gotta have tools.
If you'd like to support our small channel for free, click the like and subscribe buttons, which keep you informed and helps YouTube know that our content is worth putting in front of other people. Okay, so changing the brakes isn't that cool of a thing, but boy, is it important. Every time I connect to our trailer, I always do a brake check on our trailer, and that's standard practice. But on 2 occasions, I learned something in a really dangerous way, and thankfully nothing bad happened. The short story is that on the road, typically it isn't our rig that's looking to start a fight, but boy, could it finish one. In our experience, it's the things around us that become problems or start trouble, like cows determined to cross the 70-mile-an-hour highway, or people think that they're driving the Indy 500 and like to do 40 to 0 in 2 seconds, 50 feet in front of us. Brake check, right? It's situations like that where this becomes a problem. This is what a worn, used-up brake pad looks like. They're basically garbage at this point, unless... yeah, at Force of Sound, we do music-ish things. Anyway, that amount of wear, the truck by itself can still stop fine on a dime, but while towing, it struggles to quickly stop a 14,000-pound trailer without a lot of help from the trailer brakes. See, this is a new pad versus my old one. It's a huge difference, and I can definitely feel it when towing. Now again, this isn't advice, but here are some of the most critical things I've learned along the way that are extremely important. If you've got extra parts you're not sure what to do with, stop and talk to someone who knows their stuff and learn the answer before you guess. The little parts I'm changing right now are what the brake pads glide back and forth on, and if I hadn't replaced those, my new brakes could have worn prematurely, had too much slop, or had other issues. If something doesn't fit quite right, or the new part doesn't look exactly as the same as the old part, don't force it. Figure out the right way. Sometimes brake pads are different and only fit on one side or the other of the rotor, the spinning plate that the pad squeeze, that's the rotor. The torque specs, or how tight the nuts and bolts are supposed to be, matters if you don't want a catastrophic failure as you're going down the road. Too loose and things come apart over time with vibrations or under a load, and too tight, a rapid fracture of metal parts can occur as you're assembling or as you drive. Here, I'm tightening the caliper guide bolts. On a truck like mine, the torque specs are typically around 55 foot-pounds.
Now seriously, use the right torque specs. Do all the right things, not advice.
But to note, I've made about a 16-inch lever bar here, and I work out every day, so I'm doing about a 40-pound arm curl here. The mathematics come to about 53.3 foot-pounds, so in a pinch, a calibrated arm can do the trick. Not advice. A super important piece of safety advice that has saved me my life a time or two is do not be under a vehicle only sitting on a jack.
Now, you can't drive it, but you can go underneath it because it won't go to the ground.
Sometimes you're not on level ground, sometimes parking brakes don't work like they should, sometimes jack placement can be unstable, sometimes jacks and tools can fail, and sometimes we're stupid and forget things. Use a jack stand, use blocks or a wheel or something else that will stop the vehicle from killing you if it went to the ground, or at a bare minimum, if it has to sit on a jack, rock the vehicle side to side and front to back as hard as you can, and be as fast as you can if you have to be under the rig. Another big deal is the lug nuts that hold your wheel on. Lug nut torque ranges from 90 to 210 foot-pounds of torque depending on the wheel size and the actual load rating. So know your numbers if you're not taking your rig to a shop. If you were stranded and had to do it yourself, to get an idea for what that is with tire iron, if you weigh 200 pounds and you had a 1 foot long tire iron and you pushed straight down on the tool while it was parallel to the ground with your full body weight, you'd be pushing down with about 200 foot-pounds of torque. Torque equals the perpendicular force multiplied through the distance it is from the axis of rotation, so yay for physics. Also know that for trailer tires and some truck tires, a retightening without loosening anything is sometimes required after a certain amount of miles when a wheel has been taken off and then put back on. Whether you take it into professionals or educate yourself to do the work, let's make sure that we're taking care of our loved ones and those around us by keeping our vehicles maintained. Stay safe out there.
Hey, so I'm just out here dumping the tanks and I almost forgot. So last time I was at the dealership, they're doing some oil change and things like that. One of the guys said, hey, they're getting worn and there's cracks in them. I said, what the heck, cracks? So freaked out about that. Turns out not that big a deal, common thing on big truck. Okay, so you get these little tiny cracks and they start going from the inside of the wheel to the outside of the wheel in the rotor. And obviously, anytime you see any cracks, the general advice that me, which I'm not giving advice, or any dealership would give you is change your rotors out. But in practicality, like if you look at race cars and stuff, there's typically a rule of thumb where on race cars, maybe not trucks, if you stick your hand in here and you run your fingernail across it, it catches it, definitely want to change those. If you can't feel it with your fingernails, but you can see it as you transition light across it, then you want to be watching that and know that you're going to need to replace those soon. Also, you wear through brake pads a lot faster going that way. So freaked out about that when I first saw and heard the guy tell me about it, did a little research, do your own research, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll be changing rotors before too long, but for right now we're running them. Booyah.